I would like to give a bit of information because I was 18 years with Estee Lauder and then 2 years with Nestle, 2 years with Campina, which is now Campina Friesland, then COTY about 3 or 4 years, and then Marks Spenser 3 years. And then COSi, which is a full service supplier as well, 2 years, and then last 15 years with Mondelez. Mondelez is, everybody knows, confectionery. It is Oreo, it is Belvita, it is Cadbury, it is Milka, Toblerone, everything what is nice. And I didn't bring anything with me because I'm retired now. So I took retirement July this year. And packaging is still my passion, still my hobby, if I can say that my hobby, because I can't let go. I'm like a Belgian pit bull in a way. Yeah? But I'm living 25 years now in England. So I would like to talk a little bit about packaging and packaging related to digital printing. This is just a snapshot from the PackHub, the innovation zone, of what has been done this year on digital printing in the area of products. But what do brands do with digital printing and how do they implement, in fact, digital printing? Or it is via third-party agencies or whatever, or it is via e-commerce, or it is the standard channels. The standard channels is incumbent suppliers or converters, but that was maybe when I started with digital printing, and that was Marks Spenser, and we used labels, by the way, at that time. And now all the converters, or most of the converters, have a partner with digital printers, or they have digital printing in-house. When I started 20 years ago, I remember conferences, and the converters were saying, no, digital printing, we're never going to do that. But like Joe said, digital printing is never going to replace, in fact, the conventional printing. It's going to be harmonized, it's going to be the right choice as well, and the right occasion. And then the in-store and airports. So Toblerone was mentioned before as well. We had a small unit in stores. We could change the different stores, or we could use digital printing in airports where you can print your name and then take the Toblerone at home if it gets at home. At least the packaging maybe, but not the product. So what did the brands learn? So you can have a lot of revenue out of digital printing. Definitely the personalization and the customization. If you have a Toblerone, I don't know what a Toblerone costs because I had them always free, but I think it's about 2 or 4 times double the price of what you paid when it is customized. So it is quite worthwhile to do the personalization. And that is not just for the Toblerone, it is for all other products. So in the meanwhile, within Mondelez, we did a lot of personalization and customization, or it is via the third party, like we said. But since I was there 15 years, I think we had a lot of executions, and not just small executions, also big ones, because we're talking about digital printing, smaller quantities. We did Tang in Brazil, for instance, which was 10 million units. So this is quite massive. We did last year the Cadbury, which was about 3 million. We did as well in Italy one of the crisp brands. We did as well there 3 million or something like that. We do small quantities as well, where you can order and then deliver the next day. We did Oreo, for instance, a big brand, and deliver personalized in 4 days, and that was a flexible material. So you do the collating of the data during the daytime. During the night you do your digital printing, you do your lamination, you do your cutting, your slitting, etc. Pack off, and in 4 days the consumer had their product in the 50 states of the United States. So which was, if I can say that myself, quite impressive. So this is as well the opportunity of bringing digital printing in-house or nearline, and that's something which is not yet done enough. You have Philip Morris, for instance, they are installing now their 4th or their 5th line already in-house, and also bringing that in-house is an opportunity, and that's what I want to express here as well in this forum, because you have a lot of suppliers yourself, engine suppliers, ink suppliers, etc. Knock on the doors of the brand owners, because there is some opportunities, and the reason for for that is inventory. If you have, for instance, Milka, where you have 50 or 60 different SKUs, you could bring it down to only one because you have only one material to print. You have as well the obsolescence. You print only what you need, and when you need it as well. You can do versatiling as well. You can print today from Tesco's, tomorrow for Sainsbury's or whatever, or you still can do, if your supply chain allows, you still can do as well your personalization and your customization. You have test markets. You have the decomplexity as well. Maybe the converters don't want to hear this, but it is the decomplexity. You can exclude your converters as well. That is as well a big advantage. So the late stage differentiation as well. If you would have an issue with one of the ingredients, for instance, cocoa or the fat or the oils or whatever, you can replace it quite easily because you can print the same day, in fact, different ingredients listing. So that is, of course, the opportunities. So just a little bit making clear what is the definition of nearline. You have it or in the warehouse, or you partner, in fact, with a converter. Because at the end, people like us, like the confectionaries or any brand owner, we are not printers at the end. We need that know-how, of course, of you guys, or of the printers itself. That is quite important. Ideal candidates to bring something in-house is when you have the same shape. I mentioned Philip Morris. It's always the same shape. Toblerone would be an ideal situation because you have so many different SKUs. You have the different languages, different flavors, etc. You have the versatile texts on there. That would be ideal to print on because it is always the same. You have less changeover. You have, of course, Hicon showed as well with the digital cutting, which you can do, but it is still the same format as well, what you need to do. And that is quite interesting. Also, extended batch productions, etc., where you have the multiple SKUs, what I just mentioned in the different languages. So a resume of what the advantages are. It is very agile, so you can do whenever you want and do it right as well. Inventory reduction, faster to the market. You have test markets as well. You have a new flavor, you want to test that out. Okay, quickly done, and it is that. Otherwise, you have your minimum order quantities, which are sometimes quite drastic and quite big. If it is cartons, maybe already 50 or 100,000 is a minimum quantity. If it is flexible, it's even worse because then you have about 50,000 meters in fact. So that is quite important to do so. Security track and trace you can do because each pack can be personalized in terms of tracking numbers as well. So your counterfeiting is built in as well in your digital printing. That is an advantage. Waste reduction, we mentioned so many times here, sustainability. You calculate what you save on your inventory. You have less inventory space needed as well, less heating, etc., less energy, obsolescence, less waste, etc. I don't need to say more about that. So the inline printing estimates the needs. This is quite clear. But what are the challenges? It is not for nothing that you can do it, of course. Compliances. In the food industry, we mentioned already a few times this morning, okay, we are food compliant. In a confectionery, even low migration UV, no, it's a no-no. Because you need a functional barrier, and a functional barrier is at least 7 micron aluminium. Otherwise, you can't do it. What we test in the compliances is direct migration. You have the offsets, and you have as well the foreseeable use. The foreseeable use means like if you leave a product on the pack, that your product can't stain. On Toblerone it is more awkward because it is a triangle, you can't leave a product on there anyway, but on any other products you can. And that's why we could do an in-store or an in-airport printing, for instance on the Toblerone, because it is a triangle. But on other products it is far more risky. So compliance is very important, and it is very tricky because it is confectionery, it is fat, it's oil, etc. It's absorbed quite a lot. And then you have as well the durability of your printing. So at the same time, the curing, the aging, the layering, etc. So you have to consider that all. Last but not least, what is really important as well is the due diligence. Because currently it is your converter who tells you and says the guarantee your printing is right. If there is an error somewhere in the print, it is your operator, it is your production who has to take the responsibility. That is a due diligence, what is really important. What you save, of course, when your artworks are in the cloud, etc., that is all quite safe because it's part of your bill of material. But if you print something 15 and there is a dust spot in there that is 1.5, that has quite big complications, in fact, from the legal point of view. Resolution is quite important as well in your digital printing. So far, we have done a lot of exercises in electro inks, but of course as well in inkjet printing. So there is quite some work to do. Then when we're talking about digital printing, what about the embellishments? If we're doing a carton, it's not just the digital printing, you have to do the cutting, the creasing, the gluing. So the pack-off is already in place, of course, what we normally have, but it is embellishments as well. Do you need a varnish on top of it as well? If you look at the Cadbury, for instance, which is a metallic look, what is the look like when you do digital printing in-house? It is as well in flexible materials where you have laminations. It's the cold seal application where you need normally rotogravure for. So that is the challenge is what you have, and that's where I still think like when you have a collaboration, a good a relationship with a brand or with a converter, you can do it together, and that is the know-how as well, what you exchange then as well with each other. Why we don't have it that much in-house is as well the footprint, because most of the machines are quite big. If you have just a desktop unit, it's fine, but that is not just a digital printing, what you can do in-house, of course. So the footprint is quite big in terms of machinery. So spot colors is as well, of course, important. The Cadbury purple, or the lilac from Milka, or you have the blue from Oreo, for instance, and as well even Toblerone. Most of the time we can obtain it by CMYK, but not always, and that's where you do, you have to do spot colors as well. I think that is about it. So mono versus duplex materials. Most of the materials are now a mono material anyway, but nevertheless still laminated, and that is quite important. I think that was what I want to share.